7. Then later, Joe Jeffers, one of the top running backs in the Inland area. You can't beat him. Jeffers, the long run, finally brought down inside the 10, but that would set up Josh Martin on the keeper, takes the plunge over the goal line as Beaumont wins a shootout with their rival Banning, and they win the war for the wheel. This one goes back to, I believe, 1927, 56-34, your final score. Congratulations to Beaumont. I will see your new stadium sometime very soon. Okay, so we were talking about the war for the wheel, and it is a big-time rivalry game. The town shut down. Everyone comes out to watch that football. But, Angel, let's roll that fan poll because there's a lot of great games across the inland area, and that's our HS Game Time fan poll this week. But last week's question, to answer that one first, who's the top running back in the inland area? Jamal Morrow from Heritage taking 47% of the vote. Craig Lee with 29, and then Joseph Ajibi with 24. So congrats to Jamal Morrow. All right, this week question. You have until Wednesday to answer this one, and it's what's the top rivalry game in the inland area? Beaumont Banning, there you go, right at the top. The war for the wheel. Temecula Valley, Murrieta Valley, Rev Redlands, the big old smudge pot game. Corona Norco, that one's an old one. Paris Elsinore, the longest continuous rivalry. Poly North, Aquinas, Notre Dame, and Norte Vista La Sierra. Or if there's another game that's not on there, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter and say, dude, Pep, you missed a game. This one's big too. So a lot of people are saying the Heritage Paloma Valley rivalry will heat up. It will build some tradition, and that game will be a huge one down the road. Heritage and Paloma Valley. Heard that one on Facebook and Twitter. So remember, HSGTFB is the hashtag if you want to join and let us know. So those are rivalry games. You have until Wednesday. You can vote right here on hsgametime.pe.com and cast your vote until Wednesday. All right, we're going to have Notre Dame highlights in just a little bit. We're going to skip them, and we'll get to Notre Dame in a little bit later in the show. They took on Xavier Prep, and Notre Dame all over them. They win with an easy win, 49-8, your final score in that one. But first, we want to tell you that every Wednesday morning during the 8 o'clock hour, I'll be on KCal Rocks, 96.7 FM with the morning show. Stu, Tiffany, and Jimbo, they have a good time. They're big sports fans. And KCal 96.7 is your home for the San Diego Chargers this season. Home and away, you can listen to the Chargers games on the radio with KCal Rocks. And then they're also, promoting high school football. So every Wednesday morning, I'll be on there talking Chargers, talking National Football League, top sports stories, and of course, high school football and the HS Game Time football shows that we do. So I stopped by on Wednesday, and here's a sample of what we talked about on the radio.
Glad to be here. Yeah, great to have another little pep rally here.
You guys are talking about my boy, aren't you?
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. What do you think about this bet situation going on with the Boys to Men?
To sum it up, he made the bet with Boys to Men. He's friends with one of the members, at least one of them.
Well, that's the first problem, right?
Yeah, big time.
Exactly.
Boys to Men, come on.
Not wanting to deliver on the bet, and he's saying it was blown out of proportion by the media.
What was he going to wear, like a silk shirt and some, like, big MC Hammer baggy pants going back to Boys to
That'd be
Men?
different.
That would have been a funnier bet. But
Yeah, what I remember about him, he was pretty all business. So it doesn't come to
So
surprise
you know
that he's
Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I worked for a TV station up north. I was a sports anchor, and he was in high school at the time.
Oh.
So he was okay. He was pretty good, but not great. And I remember him being though all business on the field. Like you didn't really get to see a side of him that where you kind of cut loose and have a little fun.
Now, when you say all business, what I hear is no sense of humor.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Which is kind of weird, though, because you usually see him goofing off on the sidelines.
And he does those commercials. He's got the championship belt move that he does. And,
so maybe if they paid him to wear the jersey, then he would wear the jersey. But a bet is not good.
It worked for me.
I mean,
Well, tell us a little bit, Pep, what do you do on PE.com? We've seen some of your videos. Yep. What do you do, basically?
So here's the deal. During football season, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we have football shows. So on Thursday night, we do a Thursday football final because there are some Thursday night games around the Inland Empire.
Yes.
And we go to those and we shoot video highlights, and we do a show on Thursday night. On Friday night, we do it live, 10:30 to 11:30, 1 hour, high school video highlights from around the IE. And then on Saturday, we take Thursday, we take Friday, we just mash it all up. We got analysis, we've got interviews and all that stuff. And we do a show on Saturday called the Scouting Report.
As a matter of fact, we put one up on our Facebook because it featured us, of course, here in the studio.
No, we go there.
Shocking.
And you're already getting a little love. We got a KCal rocker. Joe Salazar wanted us to ask you, Pep, what you think of Johnny Salazar from La Sierra High School.
Gee, I wonder if they're related.
Yeah. Well, I just said Aaron Rodgers is my boy. Yeah. Johnny Salazar is my boy. He's got the long blonde hair coming out of his helmet.
Yeah.
Like Clay Matthews, the long hair. So he's a good quarterback. I think La Sierra plays Taquitz of Hemet this Friday.
How are they going to do?
I think they're going to win, and I think we're going to have a camera there too. So we'll have video highlights on our show this week.
Awesome about that. What's the big game for this week that we can't miss?
All right. First, it's Banny Beaumont because first man created the wheel, and then he created the battle for the wheel. That's Beaumont versus Banny. That's the rivalry game. Right. It goes back to like 1927 or something like that. We look back in the history books.
Awesome. But Steve was there, I think.
Steve was there.
I think I just started Social Security.
And then the other big game, we talked about Redlands East Valley last week.
Yep.
Redlands East Valley, yes, is taking on Vista Murrieta, ranked top 5 in the state, top 25 in the nation. They've got a bunch of guys from USC featured in this game, so it's going to be huge.
PE.com is where you see Pep. We'll also do links on our Facebook and
So that's every Wednesday morning on KCal Rocks, 96.7 FM, your home for the Chargers this season. Every Wednesday morning in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll talk high school football, the big game of the week, and what's going on the football scene. So another score just came in. West Valley of Hemet over Cathedral City, 52-17. That one coming through Twitter. And Matt Palmer gave us the play-by-play from Heritage and Great Oak, and he says Great Oak stopped Heritage on 4th and goal with 4 seconds, so Great Oak beats Heritage by a final score of 35-32. So you can go on Twitter, go on Facebook, let us know the scores, the news, your opinion. You got a question, go ahead and hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. All right, when we come back, we've got even more highlights. We'll go through all the scores once again, and we'll get some of the reporters in here for analysis from the games that they were at tonight. We're HS Game Time Live, and we'll be right back.
Tyron Smith, the Dallas Cowboys, offensive tackle, and you're watching HS Game Time Live.
And welcome back to HS Game Time Live. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Be part of the conversation. Let us know if you were at the game tonight and what's going on, your opinion, or if there's something else that maybe we missed and we want to know about. I should mention that Murrieta Valley, they're taking their 3-0 record on the road all the way to Juneau, Alaska, and we're hoping to get highlights, video highlights, and pictures from Alaska. But that's a Saturday night game, so if we get the video, we'll definitely put it on the Monday morning pep rally. So on Monday, you can get up early and check that out with Murrieta Valley taking on Douglas High School from Juneau. All right, Angel, let's go back to the big board. Check out some of the scores that are coming in tonight. How about Santiago? This just in, the Sharks win. They beat Santa Fe 51-0, your final score. Corona doubles up Palm Springs 14-7. Nice win for the Corona Panthers. And how about Elsinore and Temecula Valley? Elsinore 53-29. They are a winner. Those are some of the Friday night scores. Back here in the studio, we're going to let the highlights roll on because we had some Thursday night games in week number 3 of the high school football season. Let's come back over here in the studio, Angel, and we'll tell you about those Thursday night games because next week, King and Citrus Hill are playing in a big, what could be a rivalry game. It's the first time they've met, but they're just down the road from each other, and they're neighbors, and they're going to play next Friday for the first time, but they each played on Thursday night. Citrus Hill took on North, and King took on Patriot. So first, let's go to those King and, or actually, let's go to the Citrus Hill and North action. Now to the highlights, and Citrus Hill would strike early and often. P.J. Walker goes in for the touchdown, and then later the Hawks back on offense. The quarterback, Trevor Hodge, moving the chains with the big run. The deuce is loose. But later, a fumble at the goal line there, and North. Then their defense coming up big to keep Citrus Hill out of the end zone. But that wouldn't last long, because on the next Citrus Hill drive, Walker running all the way to the doorstep. But later on that drive, knock, knock, I'm home. Walker goes in for the touchdown, and Citrus Hill goes up 14-0. The Huskies trying to get something going on offense. They give the ball to Denzel Foster. The nice run here, and North moving the chains, but they would come up empty on that drive. Back the other way, the Hawks on offense. Hodge, another long run by the quarterback. Citrus Hill marching down the field, and it ends with this. Walker, the touchdown plunge. That makes it 21-zip Citrus Hill. This time, the Hawks back in business on offense, and business is good when you go to the air. Hodge to K.J. Young, his favorite target for the first down. And then that would lead to this, another Walker touchdown. Citrus Hill led 28-zip at halftime, and they go on to beat North by a final score of 38-7. Next up for Citrus Hill, their neighbor just down the road, King. So Citrus Hill, the big win against North. Citrus Hill very high in our HS Game Time rankings, checking in at number 4. Maybe they could climb, because Redlands East Valley did lose tonight in a large margin against Vista Murrieta. So Citrus Hill goes into week number 4 of the high school football season with a big win against North. King also with a win. They beat Patriot. Those pesky Warriors, though, they kept it close against King. They nearly came back, but King did hold on for the victory. Let's check out those highlights from Thursday night. The Warriors would find themselves in an early hole against the visiting Wolves, picking up in the first quarter. First drive of the game for King, quarterback Brett Hollingsworth to Kendall Moore on the touchdown strike. And then later, I need more. Hollingsworth to Moore, down the sideline for a big gain as King moves down into the red zone. Hollingsworth to Moore, another touchdown connection here, and that makes it 14-zip King on top. Moore had himself a huge game from offense to defense. He comes up with the interception here. He had a big return on this play, but it would come back because of a penalty. But no worries, the Wolves go on offense and they would punch it in. They give the ball to Dylan Halsey, and he squirts in for the touchdown, making it 21-zip. But you can never count out Patriots. Second quarter, their gritty, gutty quarterback, J.D. Hernandez, in on the keeper. That makes it 24-7. And then later, Hernandez, from 80 yards out, takes this one all the way to the house. Touchdown Warriors. That made it 24-14. King would not let Patriot back into this one. Moore, this time on the ground, runs in another touchdown as King goes on to the victory by a final score of 31-22.
We came out and did some really good things, made some adjustments. We're able to strike the ball down the field. Our run game was effective. And then as things progressed, it was like we kind of took our foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and we had some difficulties.
Against Citrus Hill in week number 4. That is a huge game. Hopefully a new rivalry just down the street from one another. All right, back to the highlights tonight. The big one tonight was supposed to be Rev against Vista Murrieta, Chris.
It was big, but it was big for one team, and that team was most definitely Vista Murrieta, coming out full throttle from the beginning of the game. You're going to have to see it to believe it. Let's roll to the highlights. A shocker from the beginning. Coley Candell. Formula for winning. How about scoring 59 points in the game? How about beginning with the old 1-2 punch? Stevens to Cravens, 7-0 Broncos. Sua is doing the old feed me. I like to call it the tiny violin. Rev would struggle from the start. Mid-first quarter, a bad snap on the punt. Vista is all over it. Phillip Jones-Ward picks up the pigskin for the TD. Now 14-0 Broncos. Turnover struggles continue. Another bad snap, and the Broncos' Trayshawn Broughton covers the ball for Vista. Still in the first quarter. Once again, when it's not broken, don't fix it. Stevens to Cravens, making it rain. 21-0 the score for Vista Murrieta. A strong wind out at Vista Murrieta tonight, but that's no problem for the flame-throwing Nick Stevens going downfield to his old pal Trayshawn Broughton with the big pickup. Later in the drive, hey, Stevens, why don't I call my own number? A 28-0 lead for the Broncos. Shock City. Everyone can't believe it. And how about 3 more? This time it's Aaron Ruth putting it up through the uprights, a 34-yard field goal, making his father proud on that one. Vista refusing to stop the offensive onslaught. This time Stevens finds tight end Dominic Marmolejo for 6 more. Vista with the 38-0 lead at the half. They would win 59-14, and Bronco Nation is going crazy. It's hard to complain. It's definitely a good day to be a Bronco, that's for sure, Pep.
All right, Chris, let's have you sit here as Angel, let's roll those HS Game Time rankings because we have Vista Murrieta number 1, and for good reason, Chris. You saw them tonight. I saw them last week against South Anchorage, which it's kind of funny. We had someone from Alaska go on to our
and complain we weren't giving them enough coverage.
Yeah, they said,
right?
South Anchorage made some really amazing plays. You should highlight those. Well,
maybe they'll come back to watch Vista this week.
Yeah, so Vista Murrieta number 1. We had Rev at number 3. I wonder if Citrus Hill will leapfrog them this week.
You got to imagine that Citrus Hill will. But keep in mind, Redlands, they are a top-level team. They are a top 3-4 team. They did not play up to their level tonight. They were just overwhelmed from the beginning. Vista at home, a full crowd. Rev is much better than they showed. They do have their struggles on offense. We know that. We saw that last week against St. Bonnie. But their defense was just completely overwhelmed. Definitely not something that Coley Candell or any of the Vista Murrieta Broncos, I'm sure, were expecting. Of course, Coach Candell, I was razzing him a little bit when they were up 28-0. I said, hey, I thought you guys weren't that good. And he still said he wasn't convinced that they were that good.
After scoring that many points against a very good Rev defense.
They could probably go undefeated and win state, and he probably would still have something
room for improvement.
to say. Yeah.
Well, Heritage comes in at number 6. They did lose tonight. We'll have those highlights with Great Oak.
What happened with Chaparral? Did we have that?
I believe they were idle tonight. They did not play. I believe they have a bye. They take on Tesoro next week. All right, thanks, Chris. I think you're going to show up one more time in the show a little bit later.
My pleasure.
Angel, let's go over to the big board and check out some of those scores from tonight. Week 3, the high school football season. Redlands doubling up Palm Desert 26-13. And then Corona doubling up Palm Springs 14-7. So a couple nice wins for Corona and Redlands. Tahquitz 37-15. We were hoping to get highlights of Tahquitz and La Sierra tonight. That did not happen, but we can tell you that Tahquitz won 37-15. All right, coming back here to the studio, we've got more highlights coming down, and we're hoping to get Notre Dame on here on the show. We've also got, as we mentioned, the Great Oak against Heritage highlights, and we've got some other games still coming in. So if we don't get them here on the live show, we will definitely get them to you on the Saturday Scouting Report. And we've got all the action, all the videos on the HS Game Time YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, search PEHS Game Time, and you'll see all the videos and all the shows that we're putting together here at the Press Enterprise. Got a little promo about that. Check it out.
PE.com. I'm here.
Hey, Angel, can you hear me? And welcome back to HS Game Time Live. In a little bit, we'll have Miriam Swanson into the studio to talk about that Paloma Valley, Moreno Valley game. It was supposed to be a close battle between these two schools, quite evenly matched, a lot of good skill position players on each side. but Paloma Valley came out with the big win on the road, a solid win for the Wildcats. Let's go check out the highlights from that one. And we can tell you tonight's show and these highlights, Paloma Valley taking on Moreno Valley, brought to you by our good friends at Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. So we can go to those highlights, Angel, Paloma Valley and Moreno Valley. There we go. And there's our good friends. You can check out their first-year anniversary sale. They're your hometown dealer, Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Thanks for joining the HS Game Time team. We appreciate it. The Vikings all fired up for this one, but it was the Wildcats firing this up first. Brent Boehm, the quarterback, to Matt Orzek, the big gain here for the Wildcats, but they came up empty on that drive. Then later, Vikings with the ball. Ray Golden pops it loose, fumble, and Orzek is there to recover for Paloma Valley. Then it's Boehm hooking up with David Solis, the running back, catching the ball out of the backfield, moving the chains, moving his legs for the first down. Big gain there for the Cats. That would set up Go Diego Go. Diego Reuter, the field goal, and that makes it 3-zip Paloma Valley on top. Then MoVal's Dane Watkins hooks up with Waki Suliafu, taking it down the sideline right to your living room, the camera. I see you, Waki. Got Waki for that big gain. That would set up also a three-pointer for Moreno Valley. Luis Lopez splits the uprights. We're all tied at 3 apiece. Solis putting up some big numbers on the ground this season for Paloma Valley with runs like that. Shaking guys, almost breaks loose for the touchdown, but still moves the chains for the Cats. Then it's Boehm dropping back, nothing doing. So he calls his own number, squirts through traffic right up the middle, and bounces to the outside. He's going to get in there for the touchdown, and Paloma Valley goes up by a score of 10-3. And then Paloma Valley would get one more before halftime. It's Boehm giving it to Solis. The big man can run. Paloma Valley. Remember, this is supposed to be a close game. Paloma Valley pulls away to beat MoVal. Final score in this one, 32-3. That was the two-point conversion after that touchdown. They led 18-3 at halftime, and Paloma Valley goes on to win 32-3, your final score. All right, back here in the studio, the highlights roll on at Centennial, where the Huskies were taking on Alemany, two of the top teams in the state, two teams maybe thinking a state bowl game in their future, but a win tonight would definitely put them on the state radar. So Centennial definitely wanted this one after coming up short on the road in St. Bonaventure in their opener. So let's go to those highlights. Huskies hosting Alemany at home. Remember, they beat up Cabrillo of Long Beach last week. What would they do against Alemany tonight? Huskies back to punt in this one. Alemany, Steven Mitchell on the return. Kind of catches everyone asleep here, it looks like. He trots into the end zone, 7-zip Alemany on top. I'm sure Matt Logan was not happy about that. Then later, Devon Dunn. Check out this quarterback. Little shifty guy. Will not go down. He's going to go in for the touchdown, and that's 14-0 Alemany. Then Trey Watson goes in for a Centennial touchdown. That makes it 14-7. How about some Husky defense, though? Xavier Hughes breaking through, brings down Dunn for the sack, and he's all kinds of fired up. And then later, Watson from about 40 yards out, springs loose, in for the score. All right. 14 all after that one. Then it's Dunn. Check him out. Goes into the pile on the keeper, then bounces out and goes in for the touchdown. Alemany back on top, 21-14. And then later, Austin Rankin gets the call past the 50, deep into Alemany territory, and that would set up this. Rankin did the work, time to get paid, goes in for the touchdown. Centennial goes on to win Alemany, goes on to beat Alemany in a close one. They win the game. Final score of 36-32, so a good win for the Centennial Huskies. All right, still to come on the show, we're going to have the War for the Wheel, and we have those Notre Dame highlights we promised you. But first, let's go to the big board. Check out some of those scores from Week 3 of the high school football season. Norco hangs 54 on Los Osos, 54-33, your final score. As we mentioned off the top, Vista Murrieta all over Rev, 59-14. We've already shown those highlights. We'll make sure we show them again later in the show about how dominant Vista Murrieta was against the Wildcats. Kaiser doubles up Pauley, 40-20, your final score. Valley View, we haven't talked about that score yet, with a big win at Hemet, 31-7. And as we mentioned, Great Oak topping Heritage, 35-32. Heritage had 4th and goal with 4 seconds left to punch in the game-winning score, but Heritage comes up short against Great Oak. Red Oak with a great win against Heritage, who's in our HS Game Time Top 10 rankings. All right, back here in the studio, we're going to go to Beaumont as they had the War for the Wheel. It goes back to, I think, 1927, this rivalry. So it's a huge rivalry, and I guess the principal out at Beaumont wants me to come out and check out the new stadium. I will take you up on that offer. I'd love to see it, so pencil me, and I will definitely check out the new stadium. I've heard great things about it, and of course, we love Beaumont here on HS Game Time Live. All right, Angel, let's go to those highlights, and there's the War for the Wheel. There's the wheel. And there's Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, bringing you the highlights all night long. Your hometown dealer, folks. Go buy a car right now. Beaumont taking on Banning, and here we go. Josh Martin dumps it off to Sam Roberts. Number 3 all the way down to the pylon. They're going to say he gets in for the touchdown, and Beaumont's on the board first. Then later, Martin gives it to Joe Jeffers. Jeffers across the way and in for the score. Another pylon punch there for a touchdown. And then Martin gives it to Jeffers, and Jeffers goes in for the score. Banning up 21-zip. Hello. And then, Beaumont up 21-zip. And then Banning looking to get back into this. You can never count out Banning in a rivalry game. That's quarterback Sty Hairston breaking off the touchdown run. That makes it 21-7. Banning is on the board. But Beaumont gives the ball back to Jeffers. You know, our question this week in the HS Game Time poll was who's the top running back in the inland area? Well, some people went on Facebook and Twitter and said, yo, Joe Jeffers, he's one of the best. He should be on that list. Then it's Martin on the keeper, punches in the score. Beaumont goes on to beat Banning in the War for the Wheel, 56-34, your final score. And speaking of, back here in the studio, the War for the Wheel, that's one of the biggest rivalry games in the inland area. There's several. And Angel, let's go to our poll question from last week. We told you about Joe Jeffers wanting to be the top running back. Here was the results from last week's question, and Joe Jeffers did get some votes. Javante, I think, is Price out there at Tockwitz. He got some votes. A lot of people like him out there from Tockwitz, but it was Jamal Morrow from Heritage, 47% of the vote. That was last week's question. Here's this week's question, including the War for the Wheel, the top rivalry game in the inland area. We've got 8 to pick from, and if we missed one, well, you can go on Facebook or Twitter and tell us, hey, Pep, dude, Heritage Paloma Valley, that's getting a lot of attention. But some of these other games, hey, you got to get that on the list. This is a big-time rivalry game. So we've given you 8. If we missed one, let us know on Facebook or Twitter, and you guys can vote on this up until Wednesday. And then next week on HS Game Time Live, we will give you the results. All right, as advertised, we've been talking about these Notre Dame highlights because the thing about Notre Dame is they play right down the hill at RCC. It's right behind the Press Enterprise, so it's real easy for us to walk down the stairs and get some video highlights of Notre Dame in action. So they like to make the show. All right, Angel, let's go out to RCC. Notre Dame taking on Xavier Prep from Palm Desert in this one. And Notre Dame, all Titans from the very start. And it looks like it's jumping a little bit. All right, well, you know what? We'll make sure, Angel, let's come back here. We'll make sure that we get these Notre Dame highlights straightened out. Oh, we got him. There we go. So that was Chris Chesney going in on the touchdown run. And I don't know, these tight highlights don't want to work with us tonight. But you know what? That's why we can come back here in the studio, Angel. That's why we have the Saturday show now, the Saturday scouting reports. So the highlights that don't make the live show, or highlights like Notre Dame who just don't want to cooperate for some reason during the live show, we will definitely get them on Saturday for the Saturday scouting report. So if you come back here to HS Game Time, I would say about 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, the HS Game Time scouting report is usually finished and edited and ready with all your highlights. So you can check that out. And we'll have highlights, I believe, from 10 or 11 games from week 3 of the high school football season. And we also have our Player of the Week and also our Play of the Week. So we pass out some awards, too, on the HS Game Time Saturday Scouting Report. All right, Facebook, Twitter, hit us up. We're going to go to a break, but you can also communicate with us on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know if you were at the game or if you've got an opinion. That would be great. We'll be right back on HS Game Time Live.
You're here with DeAndre Reed from the Minnesota Vikings. You're watching HS Game Time Live. Go Vikes.
Welcome back to HS Game Time Live. I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll get to all your highlights from tonight, week 3 of the high school football season, but all the action actually started the night before on Thursday night because King took on Patriot and also Citrus Hill took on North, and they're going to play next week in week 4. King against Citrus Hill. They're neighbors just down the road. It's going to be awesome, but they both played last night, and let's get to those highlights first, and we'll start with Citrus Hill taking on North. Now to the highlights, and Citrus Hill would strike early and often. P.J. Walker goes in for the touchdown, and then later the Hawks back on offense. The quarterback, Trevor Hodge, moving the chains with the big run. The deuce is loose. But later, a fumble at the goal line there, and North. Then their defense coming up big to keep Citrus Hill out of the end zone. But that wouldn't last long because on the next Citrus Hill drive, Walker running all the way to the doorstep, but later on that drive, knock, knock, I'm home. Walker goes in for the touchdown, and Citrus Hill goes up 14-0. The Huskies trying to get something going on offense. They give the ball to Denzel Foster. The nice run here, and North moving the chains, but they would come up empty on that drive. Back the other way, the Hawks on offense. Hodge, another long run by the quarterback. Citrus Hill marching down the field, and it ends with this. Walker, the touchdown plunge. That makes it 21-zip Citrus Hill. This time, the Hawks back in business on offense, and business is good when you go to the air. Hodge to K.J. Young, his favorite target for the first down. And then that would lead to this, another Walker touchdown. Citrus Hill led 28-zip at halftime, and they go on to beat North by a final score of 38-7. Next up for Citrus Hill, their neighbor just down the road, King. The Warriors would find themselves in an early hole against the visiting Wolves, picking up in the first quarter. First drive of the game for King, quarterback Brett Hollingsworth to Kendall Moore on the touchdown strike. And then later, I need more. Hollingsworth to Moore, down the sideline for a big gain as King moves down into the red zone. Hollingsworth to Moore, another touchdown connection here, and that makes it 14-zip King on top. Moore had himself a huge game from offense to defense. He comes up with the interception here. He had a big return on this play, but it would come back because of a penalty. But no worries, the Wolves go on offense and they would punch it in. They give the ball to Dylan Halsey, and he squirts in for the touchdown, making it 21-zip. But you can never count out Patriots. Second quarter, their gritty, gutty quarterback, J.D. Hernandez, in on the keeper. That makes it 24-7. And then later, Hernandez, from 80 yards out, takes this one all the way to the house. Touchdown Warriors. That made it 24-14. King would not let Patriot back into this one. Moore, this time on the ground, runs in another touchdown as King goes on to the victory by a final score of 31-22.
We came out and did some really good things, made some adjustments. We were able to strike the ball down the field. Our run game was effective. And then as things progressed, it was like we kind of took our foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and we had some difficulties.
We had a lot of good things in the beginning. We really need to, start and finish the same way we start. So there's a lot of things to work on. But it was a good night for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pep, our thing was we spot them 21 points, start the first quarter off. We were down 21-0, and from that point on, we outscored them 22-10 the remaining 3 quarters. So the kids battled back, and our big thing for the kids is to get ready for league, to play every opponent the best you can, and to finish.
Welcome back to HS Game Time Live here. King and Citrus Hill, they will get underway next week in week 4. As we mentioned, they're neighbors just down the road from each other. So that's going to be a huge rivalry game. We'll see how that pans out. Citrus Hill number 4 right now in our HS Game Time rankings. So that could be a close game. A game that tonight was supposed to be a close game was Paloma Valley taking on Moreno Valley. Let's go right to those highlights because this one was supposed to be a real, as Chris Erickley would say, a real dandy between MoVal and Paloma Valley. And these highlights and all the highlights tonight brought to you by Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Check out their first-year anniversary sale. They're your hometown dealer, so go buy a car at Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Vikings all fired up for this one, but we'll start with the Wildcats on offense. Brett Boehm to Matt Orzik, the big gain here down the field to move the chains for the Wildcats, but they would come up empty on that drive. Then Ray Golden gets a helmet on the ball, pops it loose, and Orzik recovers for Paloma Valley. So then it's Bame to David Solis. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a great runner. Keeps moving his legs, and he moves the chains, and that would set up this. Go, Diego, go. Diego Reuter, the field goal, makes it 3-zip, Paloma Valley on top. So now MoVal goes on offense. Dane Watkins hooks up with Waki Suliafu, and he's coming right into your living room. Waki, there's the camera on you. I got you. I see you, Waki. Then that would set up a field goal for MoVal. Luis Lopez splits the uprights and ties the game at 3 apiece. So Paloma Valley going back on offense. They give the ball to their running back. He's one of the top in the area right now in rushing yards. And David Solis breaks off a huge run here to move the chains for the Wildcats. Bame drops back. Nothing doing. Finds some space. Squirts up the middle and in for the touchdown here for Paloma Valley. And they build a 10-3 lead. And the Wildcats were not done yet before halftime. With just about a minute left in the game, before halftime, it's Bame putting together another drive for Paloma Valley. Gives it to Solis, and he is gone all the way to the paint. And Paloma Valley, they led 18-3 at halftime, and they go on to a big win against MoVal. Final score of 32-3. And now joining us here in the HS Game Time Lounge, Miriam Swanson. Miriam, going into this, we both like their skill position players. We thought it would be close. MoVal has all that size, but in the end, it wasn't close. What happened tonight?
Can I first say shout out and I guess my thoughts with Amos Murphy. He's a running back for MoVal. He went down. They called the game with like 5 minutes left. He was moving, though. He's moving his feet and his hands, but they took him away. So hopefully everything's okay good with him. So
absolutely.
First and foremost,
yes.
That's what I take away from that game. As far as skill positions, yeah, I mean, Waki over there and MoVal is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then,
and he likes the camera too, we found out.
Yeah, well, as he should. But obviously I'm Paloma Valley side. I mean, they got it going on.
Yeah,
it seems like, according to them and what everybody else has been saying, they're just getting better and better. So
maybe we're talking about the biggest rivalry game on our HS Game Time poll, and a lot of people were saying this Paloma Valley Heritage game could be pretty big. Maybe this is the year Paloma Valley challenges Heritage for that league title.
I don't know. MoVal's coach, Ted Watkins, thinks that they have the potential to go undefeated.
Really? Paloma Valley?
Yeah.
I saw them a little bit in passing league, and as we mentioned, they've got some good skill guys, some skill position players. So moving forward, Moreno Valley, though, I mean, it was a tough 32-3 loss, but they're not a bad team either.
No, I mean, they definitely have size. I think they have 6 guys who are 300-plus pounders. So they're tough, and they've got some. They're young though. They only have like 3 starters on defense, and Dane Watkins, I think this is his first year at quarterback, and so there's some growing pains, but they're gonna be all right.
They'll grow into it.
Yeah,
and you'll have the complete story tomorrow, I assume, in the Saturday Press Enterprise.
Hopefully, it's on its way to print right now.
It better be, right?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Miriam.
Thanks, Pep.
Angel, back to the big board. Check out some of those scores from week 3 of the high school football season. Beaumont over Banning 56-34. We'll get to those highlights one more time in this one. In Notre Dame, those highlights just did not want to play, but they did win against Xavier 49-8, just down the steps here from the PE at RCC. Final score 49-8. Valley View over Hemet 31-7. And how about Carter? They're climbing up the HS Game Time rankings, and they hammered Lakeside tonight, 54-16, your final score in that one. All right, back here in the studio, Centennial was taking on Alemany. If you haven't heard, the Huskies with a big win, and I guess when they win, they send us prizes here at the Press Enterprise. So they send us this jersey. We'll definitely get this up here in our studio. Huskies, we appreciate it. And, of course, the old helmet here made its way onto the desk, so we can thank EPJ for delivering it, but we want to give a big shout-out to Centennial for giving us some stuff for the studio. So, and there's still time. If you're a school here and you're looking around and you're like, man, I don't see any of our stuff here hanging up or a helmet, there's still time. We can add, we can rotate stuff out. So if you got stuff that you want to put in our studio, we would gladly take it. We'll take turns and spread the wealth for all the teams and make sure we talk about all the local teams and give everyone enough airtime. All right, Centennial, the big win. Angel, let's go to those highlights. Centennial taking on Alemany. In fact, our guy Angel Ortiz was at the game and shot these highlights and did a great job as usual. But early on, it did not start very well for Centennial. They punt, Alemany back to receive, and that is Stephen Mitchell. And he just goes down the sideline untouched to get Alemany on the board, 7-zip. And then Devon Dunn. He's going to drop back for Alemany, nothing doing. And he will not be stopped. He goes into the paint after scrambling for a little bit, and that makes it 14-zip Alemany. But back comes Centennial. Trey Watson, he goes into the paint for a touchdown. That makes it 14-7. And how about some Husky defense? Xavier Hughes, bring him down. The sack there for Centennial. And then more from the offense. They give it to Watson right up the middle. He's going to get into the paint, and that evens the game at 14 apiece. But here comes that Dunn guy again. Check him out. Goes in the pile, bounces out because it was clogged, and he goes in for the touchdown there and gives Alemany the lead once again, 21-14. Back come the Huskies. Austin Rankin, the big run here, past the 50, past the 40, to about the 36-yard line. And if you did the work, time to get paid. Rankin goes in for the touchdown, and Centennial goes on to the victory. It was a close one, but they win it 36-32, your final score. All right, back here in the lounge, Centennial with the big win. Vista Murrieta also with a big win against Redlands East Valley.
We'll give a shout out to our main man, Kurt Ruth, for this Vista Murrieta helmet. We have Centennial helmet. No, we have no Vista Murrieta helmet. I think it's safe to say, Pep, that Centennial will probably be ranked number 2.
Going to leapfrog Rev in those rankings, huh? You might be right.
And I think it's also safe to say there's no doubt that Vista Murrieta will be the top dog. Let's roll the highlights. They were on fire from the start. No doubt Coley Candell chalking up, hey, how about 59 points? He was writing it up on the scoreboard. Vista Murrieta begins with their secret formula, Stevens to Cravens. Not the first time they've done that one before. 7-0 Broncos. Rev would struggle from the start. Mid-first quarter, a bad snap on the punt. Vista's all over it. It's Phillip Jones Ward. With a name like that, you got to score a touchdown. 14-0. Turnover struggles continue for Rev. Another bad snap. This time Broncos' Tayshawn Broughton recovers the ball for Vista. And still in the first quarter, let's go back to the old money 1-2, the old 1-2 punch. Stevens to Cravens, basically the exact same play, the same result. 21-0 now the score. A strong win out at Vista tonight. That's no problem for their flamethrower. Nick Stevens goes downfield to Trayshawn Broughton for the big gain. Later in the game, Stevens says, hey, enough of this passing business. How about I run one in myself for a 28-0 Vista lead? And hey, let's get everybody involved. The kicker this time, number 34, Aaron Ruth. 31-0 Vista Murrieta, the score at that point. Vista refusing to stop there. Stevens this time back to the air, connecting with Dominic Marmolejo for 6 more. Vista up 38-0 at half. And Vista Nation is going crazy as they win 59-14. Basically, as planned for Coley Candell. I'm sure that's exactly how he chalked it up when he was drawing up the game plan this week.
A big blowout win, of course, right? We knew Rev could play defense. You know, the offense was a little suspect, but we knew they could play that stingy defense. But, man, Vista Murrieta, all aspects of the game, right? They just get it done.
I have to say I've seen Vista Murrieta probably 5 times in my career here at the Press Enterprise, and this was the finest performance that I have seen from them. Maybe the finest performance I've seen from any team, considering the level, the talent they were playing. Many consider probably this Rev defense to be one of the best in the state, and
absolutely.
They made them look like they were the Oakland Raiders, as you said before, just running all over them.
Certainly not the 49ers, of course.
No, not the 49ers.
So Vista Murrieta, maybe even better than last year, the team that won the title?
They looked,
dare I say that?
At least at this point, compared to where they were at this point last year. I mean, they were a polished machine tonight. Of course, last week, South Anchorage, Pep, you got to give them more love. They were complaining they weren't
Alaska
getting enough
loves
love.
the HS Game Time shows.
They did look a little rough against Thunder Ridge in their first game. They were struggling out of the gate, losing in that one at halftime. But tonight, against the talent they were playing, they looked like a well-oiled machine, unstoppable force. Cravens, Stevens, but there's a lot more to that team. At first, you'd be worried. I mean, on offense, that they're definitely the two that run the show. But there's a lot more depth to that team. We saw on special teams. We saw on defense. We saw other guys getting involved on offense. The big thing for the Vista Murrieta offense, though, I think, is the fact that Stevens is as dangerous in the air as he is with his feet now, and he has definitely become a dynamic quarterback. That's for sure.
Yeah, another dimension to their offense, and I'm sure Rev will bounce back after this. Thanks, Chris. Let's go to the scoreboard. Actually, we're going to do it one more time, but here it is right here from the scores from week number 3. And Carter, the team that's climbing the HS Game Time rankings, 54-16 against Lakeside, another solid win for them. And how about that Great Oak Heritage score? We're going to have highlights from Great Oak and Heritage on the Saturday scouting report. 35-32, Great Oak going on the road to Menifee, or Romoland, or whatever you like to call it. 35-32, your final score. And Banning and Beaumont, you see the score right there. Beaumont 56-34, your final score in that one. And that's where the highlights continue. So let's come back out here to the studio, Angel, and we'll talk about the war for the wheel. And I believe, and we've got the prep dog standing by to confirm this, but I believe it goes back to 1927. So this is a rivalry that dates back to prehistoric times, pretty much. Man first invented the wheel, and then he invented the war for the wheel. So let's go to those highlights right now, Angel. Beaumont, Banning, highlights brought to you by Hemet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Check out their first-year anniversary sale. They are your hometown dealer. Check them out and go buy a car today, tonight, tomorrow. Early on, it's the quarterback, Josh Martin, dumps it off to Sam Roberts all the way down to the pylon. They're going to say he's going to get in there, 7-zip, Beaumont on top. And then later, they give it to Joe Jeffers. He's one of the best tailbacks in the inland area, and he goes in for a score, and that makes it 14-zip, Beaumont on top. And then the quarterback, Martin, easy plan here. Just give it to Jeffers and let him go in for the score. 21-zip after the TD plunge. Hello there. And then Banning. They don't want to lose the big rivalry game. They're coming to play. That's their quarterback, Sly Hairston, on the touchdown run. 8 is great, and they get on the board, making it 21-7. Styrone. Says here Sty. Is that what he goes by? Sty, prep dog? Styrone. And Jeffers, another big run here. And that's going to set up this. Martin on the keeper, takes the plunge over the goal line. The war for the wheel goes to Beaumont. 56-34, your final score. Prep Dog, you were at the game tonight, and you lived to talk about it. Does Beaumont enjoy the press enterprise still?
I think they do, especially after this one. Nice win for the Cougars. Styrone Hairston was dynamic. He had 330 and change, 4 touchdowns. He is so fast. So fast. I asked him how fast he runs a 40. He says 4.0, and I wasn't doubting him. Yeah. I mean, he is really fast. Yeah. But Beaumont has more depth. They have more size. They had a platoon of backs, and they were all good. And they just they got off to a quick start, and it suited them well.
Big crowd out there for the war for the wheel?
Very big crowd. Banning traveled well, and Beaumont had a ton of people.
Now, the Beaumont-Banning game is one of our rivalry games that people can go on HS Game Time right now and vote for the best rivalry in the inland area. I know Redlands Rev is another one on that list, but where would you stack up the war for the wheel and some of the best rivalries in the area?
Well, it's right up there. I mean, if you live in the pass, it's numero uno.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have some other good ones. Rev, Redlands, as you mentioned, and, Norco and Centennial, right on down the line.
So this Sty guy, does he go by Sty, or are we just calling him Sty?
Sty or Styrone.
Okay. But, so Banning moving forward with this kid,
whatever it says on his back as you're watching him go into the end zone.
That's all that matters, right, for Banning, as long as he can't do the paint. But you just did something on him this week, right? Did you do like a blog post or a story?
I did, blog post.
So what is the story behind this guy? Because he kind of stepped into that starting role, didn't he?
Well, yeah, this Marcos Sains was supposed to play quarterback, sophomore who had actually transferred from Beaumont to Banning, but he had eligibility complications. And so I think the Banning coaches said, what do we do now? Well, let's take our best athlete and put him at quarterback. And lots of times he'll just get the ball and he'll go back to pass, and then he'll start running around. And next thing you know, he's 70 yards downfield.
It's not a bad plan to draw up there. Just give him the ball and let him, take a broken play and take it into the paint.
Kind of like last night what we saw where the guy snapped the ball over the quarterback's head and he ran back and got it and then
completed the pass. Yeah, for King it was Brett Hollingsworth to was it Kendall Moore, I think it was.
It's the way they draw him up.
Yeah, of course. Brilliant coaching, right?
Absolutely.
Prep Dog, you're the man.
As always.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
John Murphy breaking it down, the war for the wheel. Let's go to the scoreboard one more time. Angel, 36-32. Centennial, the big-time win against Alemany tonight. There's the war for the wheel, 56-34, your final score. Now, we didn't have a lot of highlights from some of these other games, but we will have them for the Saturday scouting report, including Great Oak Heritage. We're expecting video from that one, so we'll definitely get that on the show. The Notre Dame highlights just did not want to cooperate for whatever reason, but we'll definitely get Notre Dame on the Saturday scouting report. And some of those other scores here, Kaiser doubles up Poly 40-20. Murrieta Mesa, don't have the numbers yet on Chase Chambers' night, but I'm sure he played a big part in beating Citrus Valley. 35-10 your final score. Murrieta Mesa a winner there. And Santiago tossing the shutout against Santa Fe. 51-0 your final score. All right, that'll do it for HS Game Time Live tonight. But you can be sure we'll be back on Saturday with the scouting report with even more highlights from week 3 of the high school football season. And remember, we're trying to get video of Murrieta Valley playing Juneau, Alaska, that is. Juneau, Alaska, Douglas High School, trying to get video and pictures. So if you don't see it in the Saturday scouting report, we'll try to get those Murrieta Valley video highlights into the Monday morning Pep Rally. So even more highlights and scores tomorrow on the Saturday Scouting Report. And be sure to check us out as well on Facebook and Twitter. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you again next Friday night with HS Game Time Live.